Okay, so today we're going to talk about depression, anxiety in the gut. It's it's interesting to me. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time now, and in these last couple of years, everybody's coming in has anxiety and depression. If they don't have depression, they have anxiety. It's just a topic that is become more and more on the forefront of having to address it in order to address other issues of chronic pain and chronic fatigue and things of that nature. And I don't look at depression and anxiety as a mental disorder. Um, there's little neurological abnormalities that can be associated with it in the fear center of your brain and in the emotional center of your brain, the limbic system of your brain. I don't see that as a personality disorder because things can change once you start getting brain chemistry under control, once you start figuring out diets and so on and so forth. And then there's so many different contributors to anxiety relative to blood sugar and Hashimoto's and dietary things. And a big contributor to both of those, unless I'm going over the reasons why I don't consider it a mental disorder, is the gut. It is the gut. You know, it's funny. Hippocrates said, look to the gut for the cause of all sickness and disease 500 years ago. We finally have gotten around to doing that somewhere around the year 2000. And it just is, it's so much involved with everything. You have the microbiome project, which was done, I think, in 2005 to 2010 at Harvard. And that microbiome project was mind-boggling. If you want to blow your mind, you have like tons of time to read a study. I mean, it connects your microbiome to gut health, to hormonal health, to pain, to every single aspect of your body, and particularly to brain. Okay. And, so there's that. There's the 3 to 5 pounds of imbalance in your gut, that of bacteria, that if it's not correct, it can create almost anything. And I have a chart up here to my left that I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a intestines that has these arrows going up to your brain. And part of what it's showing is that when you have that bad bacteria, those bad bacteria can get out of a leaky gut, which is the second big thing that'll contribute to depression and anxiety. And when you develop leaky gut, which now I don't have to explain anymore because it's rare that somebody comes in here and doesn't know what a leaky gut is. But when you have things that get out of your leaky gut, go into your bloodstream, nothing good can happen. Only bad things can happen. And one of the things that can get out of there is these bacteria that I just talked about, that imbalance in bacteria. They can actually get out of leaky gut and they can go up to your brain, and they will cause depression because they create an inflammatory response in your brain. Your brain neurons, to be healthy, you need no inflammation up there. You need proper blood sugar, proper oxygen. You need proper essential fatty acids. You need proper thyroid hormone. And you need a lack of inflammation. Everything that happens from your gut that goes out into the system causes inflammation. There's a lot of things in the gut that causes inflammation. You develop food allergies, or more stealthily, you develop food sensitivities. Food sensitivities create inflammatory responses. These create cytokines, which are little inflammatory proteins. These get through your leaky gut. They go up to your brain, depression. So am I saying that diet can be a cause of your depression? It can definitely be a cause of your depression. At the very least, it can be a huge contributor. I think one of the biggest areas that that contributes to depression and anxiety from the gut is the fact that I believe this is correct. It's somewhere in 90 to 95% of your serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that makes you happy. When you have poor serotonin function, you're sad, You could get seasonal affective disorder, or you can just be sad, period. You can be like, not like, you don't want to be like around your friends. You just can't enjoy life. You can't do those are neurotransmitters that stimulate parts of the brain. And if you have all those other parameters intact that I just talked about, then those neurotransmitters make you happy. There's thoughts that make those neurotransmitters happy, but there's medications that make those neurotransmitters more abundant that make you happy. But your gut makes 95% of those. So if you have a bad gut, you have inflammation, you have chronic diarrhea, you have chronic constipation, and you're not detoxing, you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you have food sensitivity, all of those things. Stress hormones, cortisol coming from stress hormones is a stress hormone that attacks the inside life. All of those things alter the ability of you to make serotonin in your gut. So if you're not making serotonin, I just had a thought, I'll mention it. If you're not making serotonin, you're not going to be happy. I joke with my patients. I say, you know, when you have one of those euphoric bowel movements, you know, and you're getting rid of all of this stuff out of your bowel, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, I just feel so good. And that could last sometimes for a long time after you've had that bowel moment. It's because so much of the chemistry in your bowels and in your intestines has an enormous amount of bearing on your brain. I can go into estrogen. I mean, estrogen in a female, if it's off, they can have depression. But you also need proper estrogen in your gut to keep your gut healed. But estrogen is also reconstituted in the gut incorrectly. You need to take estrogen in, not take it in. Forget it. That's birth control. You need to make estrogen, okay? And then estrogen needs to be used in your tissues, and then there's excess, and it needs to be cleared out your liver through your intestines. And if your intestines aren't right, it doesn't do the proper job of modulating how much estrogen literally should be going into the toilet. And if you start getting too much estrogen accumulating in your gut, you're going to be depressed. You're going to start to get depressed. And I could go on for a long time. But the bottom line is, you know, if you have depression, anxiety, I'm not saying don't go to counseling. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. When people come in here, they're depressed, they have anxiety, they're in counseling, I'm good with that. I'm pleased they're working through certain things and so on and so forth. But in my mind, by the time we get their physiology under control, their mood is going to improve. Their anxiety is going to go down. And then at that point, you may be able to use herbs and botanicals to control that versus say antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. And you might not, and there's not anything, if you're a therapist, I'm not saying anything against you. I'm just saying that brain function can even get good enough to where, you know, counseling may not even be necessary for that person. I'm all over counseling for those of you who have PTSD and all those types of things. Believe me, I am. But I'm just trying to draw the picture of kind of a spectrum of you may be able to bring your depression, anxiety from here to here with diet, nutrition, and working with your digestive health. So yeah, it's a big player in my patient population. The gut is a big player on depression and anxiety in my patient population.